All right, everybody, welcome to another painting tutorial. I think this is number 74, and that's having oil paintings in there and some sketching in there as well. So we have quite a bit of paintings, and we've done I don't know, at least 25 different videos I think in the past 2 weeks. So we're doing a lot. I pre-wet the paper. This is a 11 by 15. This is a quarter sheet of Stonehenge Aqua. By pre-wetting it, I literally, before I turned the camera on, just started swiping water on it like this to let it to soak. Usually I do that at the beginning of the video, but kind of wanted to just jump more into painting with this one. Palette wise, all I did was kind of wipe down my palette and then just wipe down and then spritz with some water on the paints, and we'll add paint as we need them. And I'll talk through what I use as we do it. Unfortunately, you can't see the palette perfectly in this view, and what I realized is that sometimes, if I point right here, that's where my camera lens is, and sometimes it will film in this orientation, or it'll want to film the other way. When it films the other way, the camera is on this side and gets a great view of it with how it balances on my tripod and whatnot, where it sits on the table. I could move the palette to this side, but I'm left-handed, so that's like really weird. I don't even know why I thought of that. That's blasphemy. Just switching the side that I put my palette on. Y'all crazy. So I don't have anything in mind with painting today. Like I said, I kind of just want to jump into it. However, I had been doing some sketches of paintings by Thomas Moran and Jasper Francis Cropsey, so we'll see what comes through with that. I'm using a medium-sized Ron Ranson Hake. This is a alizarin crimson from one of the cheaper brands, probably a Cotman brand, and I'm just kind of dapping it in. Definitely a different approach than I usually go with. Let's grab a little bit of raw sienna. So lately I've been kind of just doing a lighter volume with it. And see. Sorry, I gotta go check something. Okay, raw sienna. Let me go close the other door. I feel like I'm getting like some noise from the other room. So, sorry, hold on 1 second. All right, sorry about that. So now I'm going to take some ultramarine. I'm going to let it mix into this. It's already on there. Okay. Now, mix it with raw sienna. I'll throw this in the corners. Now here's my horizon line. However, I think I'm going to wind up adjusting that some more. I'm going to grab a paper towel. Vary it up for texture. Move some spots. Throw a little Payne's gray in these corners too. In fact, I could let a Payne's gray grouping of clouds pass in front. All right. Now, let's see. Raw sienna, phthalo blue, get a greenish, and I'm going to sculpt the land for whatever composition I want. I want a far distant land. And I think I'm going to come back into these areas when it's dry. I want a tree line, so I'm probably pulling from Thomas Moran when I'm thinking of that. Vary my tree line. And let's do some water. Maybe a puddle or something in here. So we'll play around with it, we'll figure it out. Okay, so I'm going to leave that area open. Okay, so everything's still wet and wet. Great time to feed various darks in. Here is burnt sienna being mixed into this. This is warmer, so I'm bringing it up close, letting it feed out. Ultramarine blue. It's going to be cooler. I'll put it in the darks back here. We'll have the tree line that I was talking about. I'll cast its shadows. Maybe we'll do an opening or two. Oh. Hammy, you can't come in here. There you go, Hammy, watch out. Watch out. Hammy is one of the cats, and we have not really let him into the art room yet, because as we're adjusting everything and moving things around and whatnot, the art room also has just a lot of boxes and whatnot, so eventually they'll be allowed in. Okay, so now this is just mixing a dark, ultramarine, burnt umber, Payne's gray. Kind of really accentuate the darks on this tree line. Oh, Hammy wants to come in. I want to change the rhythm of this, the up and down, the back and forth. Maybe I'll even bring it up close over here and have tree line in the back and then a closer tree. Bring some the shadows down. Okay. Now, I usually do a layer of wet and wet with the trees. What we'll do is we'll take our raw sienna in a wash, and I'll use that to scope out the foliage, kind of just a general idea. But I don't think I'm going to put any trunks in yet. This come out a little bit. The reason I'm doing this is because I had said I wanted to go back in and put this background in, the far distance, so I'm just putting these in place. I'll dry it, and then I'm going to put everything strict over this. One thing I've been harping on a lot recently is paint off the edge. Paint follow through. Imagine the scene larger than what you're gonna matte. And one thing I've been seeing, in I think both artists have it, elements coming from the side and going off to the side in those landscape paintings from the 1800s. We could feed a little bit of light red in here while it's all nice and wet and flowing. Okay, I could bring those colors down in here as the reflection. Mix with dark real quick. It's kind of the edge right here for the water. And then this is that tree line back here. Back here. And then we might have a closer up tree right there. More sienna. That phthalo blue mixed into it. You can see how strong phthalo blue is, and I really want to tone that back quite a bit. And if I want, paper towel, texturize some of this. I'm kind of just blotting so it doesn't repeat the pattern and softening things up. Now I want to point something out. This is my water. I haven't cleaned my brush off at all. Maybe I wiped it with the paper towel at times, but just to kind of give you guys an idea of how little I am cleaning and going back and forth. I don't know if that's a good practice or not, but maybe that's helping unify colors and whatnot. Anyhow, if you're wearing earbuds, watch out. We're going to do a dry off, and then we'll come back to it. not everything's dry perfectly yet, but I need to write a note to myself. I don't know how it appears to y'all, but that wet and wet of the raw sienna light red, wet and wet, raw sienna, light red, which we did as trees, softens and could be used as clouds. So next time we paint, or down the line, I have all these notes that I've been taking about future practices and future experiments. This might be something we explore, having a vibrant colored dramatic sky with this. We've been focusing a lot on trees and whatnot. This one I think is becoming a focus on cleaning up that background. Now I have the rigger brush and I have the hake. I think that I might want to switch to some sort of round brush. It doesn't really matter. It's just even though I'm spending time looking for it, it is for the sole purpose of speeding up this process rather than using the rigger to put those marks in. We can get the same effect. It's literally just a matter of convenience. So let's see. Far distance, so I'll use ultramarine and light red. I haven't used this brush in a while. This is a silver black velvet, that brand, which I use the rigger from, and it's the jumbo round. It's the small version of it. This is something I picked up after watching Rick's tutorial videos. I believe he uses this prominently, or at least he did in videos that I had seen. Okay, so far distant. It feels weird using a different brush. Let's feed a little raw sienna, burnt sienna in there. I can mix darker, so burnt, umber, I'm gonna grab raw sienna. I feel like this is something I probably should have done once, dried off, wait till it dried, and then done the raw sienna portion. Let's do a stronger raw sienna right here. All the way through. I am going to lift a little bit of that raw sienna. It's very strong for me. I feel like we could probably take, let's see, phthalo blue, burnt umber, feed some tree shapes back in here. That's cool. I haven't done this in a while. All right, so this is something new to the repertoire, or pulling out an old trick that I might have forgot about. I'm sure I've done this in the past. This is, I'm feeding it into the wet, and we have the dry right there, so that's why it's going down with it. I don't really have it on much of an angle. Okay, so that should give an interesting background. We'll see how it looks in the end. Now, I'm probably just going to put that brush to the side at this point. I'm not going to do the trees over this because of the wet and wet, and that's quite wet right now. So we'll play around with this foreground a little bit more before I do another dry off. Phthalo blue and burnt sienna. That I always think of as a super warm. So when I add phthalo blue to my palette, I use it kind of on a warmer side for closer objects, and I also use it for darker darks with the mixture. And then the ultramarine, I'll use that kind of for the more further back or the cooler mixtures. Though I might switch it up once in a while, so you know it does happen. This is where we're going to create that water's edge. And everything in the foreground is going to be quite dark because we're going to have such a big tree line. This is just mixing some raw sienna into all this. Okay, burnt umber, phthalo blue. I like that for the dark. I'm gonna feed that to here. I could also mix Payne's Gray into that. Put that Payne's Gray mixture in here. And then, let's see, tree line, shadow. That tree might not take place. It might just be a small little guy that we put in. I also want to get some green in here. So I want to vary this line. I want to go up and down. So one thing I noticed from Thomas Moran was his layering of the folds of the earth and how things took place. And that was demonstrated, I believe, with shadows, lights, and darks, so tonal variations. So we could actually probably do that with scraping. And not so much as if I'm doing a rock or something like that, but pulling out large swathes, swatches, yeah. And just getting those movements. And I said I wanted some greens in there. So what we'll do is I have a little bit of lemon yellow mud on here. Ultramarine. That is not the direction I want. Let's put the lemon yellow and kind of get the illusion of the green. We might need to pour it. Lemon yellow. Got a little bit on the palette. There we go. Let's see. Okay, phthalo blue in there. That gets a green. And that gives us some variety. Then raw sienna. Wet in this area. Light red. Burnt umber. Tree reflections. Payne's gray. And we are going to do a dry off in a moment. Let's kind of just add some textures in. Really no rhyme or reason right here to this. Darkening corners, there's a reason for that, to kind of frame a little bit. You could even put one in and actually scrape out a rock if we want. And we could pull out. Okay, let's do a dry off. Let's put our trees in. Mixture of phthalo blue and burnt umber. This guy will not show on the page. He will be underneath the map, but I am, like I'm saying, like paint to the edge and get the illusion. Opening here. This guy feels like he's a little too much in the middle. So right behind him back here, do trees back here. Okay. Accentuate some darks from their reflection. Now I want to take, and this is experimental here, Payne's gray, phthalo blue. This is just me just trying to get whatever dark I can get, darkest dark, to really set these guys in place and show that they're grounded, that the sun is behind them. We are on the darkest side of this painting. This is low in the ground. Not much light is getting through these guys right down here. Same thing over here. And what I'm trying to do also, that is something that I've read and I always have difficulty comprehending, where they're saying like connect masses. So here's the shadow, here's the shadow and the ground foliage, and I see it in the paintings of the masters where they let it all kind of flow together. Let me grab a spray bottle. Spray bottle. Okay. Now I'm gonna take light red, raw sienna. Let me build up the outside of this picture. So this is just coming in slightly. The matte probably comes to about here. I'm going to do this on the other side. Unfortunately, it's becoming too symmetrical when I'm doing this, but so compositional planning would be a key part here, or variety within it. Maybe bringing this raw sienna, I want to get it as pure and then as texture as I can get. This is the outside of the foliage, the far edge that's the thinnest, and it's catching the sun through it. And what I need to maintain is the variety on the top of these trees, the variation. Okay, now I could use either burnt umber or the light red. Well, I keep on saying light red, but like I said, I use Venetian red. And I can do that amongst these. In fact, I could find areas where I could say this tree, and if we're doing fall, has turned a lot more red than the others first, you know? My paint's drying. Venetian red, burnt sienna. Let that guy turn some. Now we need to get a darker mix. So this is where we're going to introduce either our ultramarine or our phthalo blue. I'm going to go phthalo blue because of, I feel like it mixes a greener green than the ultramarine. I'm mixing it into that mush. Now this is more of the center of the tree, where it's harder for the light to pass through because the foliage is a lot more dense. I'm using the spritzer bottle to re-wet, just so I don't have to do a dry off on the brush. Okay, this is mixing my burnt umber in there. So we didn't really go with green foliage, unfortunately, even though I had said that. Let's see if I can shift this in the green direction. More phthalo blue, raw sienna. I have to get a little bit of water, unfortunately. Lemon yellow. Now, we can scrape a little bit of texture in here, little trunks. We could probably lift with the paper towel if we wanted to. But I think it's best if we sit back, kind of see everything that's going on, play with the branches a little bit, and start wrapping up. Let's bring our I need to make it darker. Spray. All right. Back to the rigger. Now I'm just thinking. Oh, if you made it this far in the video, usually I say, hey, if you want to follow along, feel free to follow along. I'd love to see your results. Down below, I have a whole bunch of links. I have a whole bunch of other videos. I have a Patreon account. I would love for you, to consider, supporting me. It's a cheap amount of money, and it kind of helps with buying art supplies and whatnot. I'm trying to do some drawing series and whatnot for exclusive content. But if you can, sign up and donate, whatever, that'd be like greatly appreciated. If not, I understand. That's why you have a lot of free content out there for y'all to use. And what else? Okay, I have the Etsy account if you're ever interested in purchasing anything. Usually the paintings that I do wind up on the Etsy. If I do an oil painting, it usually takes a while for it to wind up on there just because it has to dry and whatnot. I have a Facebook page for the art, also the Instagram and all those other things. So, you know, consider looking into all that. But once again, if you follow along, I would love to see your results. And if you ever have any questions or anything like that, feel free to ask. And if there's anything that I didn't make clear, I'll try to address that. And yeah, I think that covers most stuff. This guy's just coming from the foreground. Yeah, like, subscribe, follow, you know. I also live stream on Twitch. I believe there's a link down below for that as well. So if you like that, you can sign up, and I guess it'll let you know when I am online and painting and live streaming. And you could interact with me in real time as I paint. Every so often I get up and I check to see if anybody has commented and whatnot. Let me dry it off, we'll take a look, and then we'll see. And if you want, you could play all day with putting branches and whatnot in here, but I'm not going to do that. I'm gonna dry it off and I'm gonna sign it, and we'll put a mat on it, see how it looks. Okay, I think we're good and dry. Let's sign it right down. Sometimes I use the jelly roll, sometimes the micron. I feel like the jelly roll will be too popping on this one. The jelly roll is a white pen. Okay, let me pull out a mat. Put it over this. I'll show you how it looks like, and I'll photograph, and I'll start uploading it and all that. I'm very pleased with this. It was a lot of fun. So you see how we have those guys that we painted off the edge, and the clips kind of give us that idea, but we can go either way with it, and I think looks best. Let's go right about there. All right, I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more content, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.